Welcome to aminacademy.com. In human anatomy and physiology, in that the human body and its constituent, let us talk about specific defense mechanism. The body generates a specific immune response against the substance it identifies as foreign. Such substances are called antigens and include pollens from the flowers of plants, bacteria and other microbes, cancer cells or transplanted tissue cells. Following exposure to an antigen, including lifestyle immunity against further invasion by the same antigen, often develops. Over a lifetime, an individual gradually builds up immunity to millions of antigens. Allergic reactions are abnormally powerful immune response to an antigen that usually poses no threat to the body. Example, the effects of pollen in people with a hay fever. Next one, survival of species. Survival of species is essentially prevent its extinction. This requires the transmission of inherited characteristics to a new generation by reproduction. Transmission of inherited characteristics. Individuals with a most advantageous genetic makeup are most likely to survive, reproduce, and pass their genes on to the next generation. This is the basis of natural selection, that is, survival of the fittest. Reproduction. Successful reproduction is essentially in order to ensure the continuation of a species and its genetic characteristics from the generation to the next. Ova, eggs are produced by two ovaries situated in the female pelvis. During female reproductive years, only one ovum usually is released at about monthly intervals in its travel towards the uterus in the uterine tube. In males, spermatozoa are produced in large number by the two testes situated in the scrotum. From each testis, spermatozoa pass through the different, different duct to the urethra. During sexual intercourse, coitus, the supermatozoa or spermatozoa are deposited in the vagina. They then swim upward through the uterus and fertilize the ovum in the uterus tube. Occurs when a female egg cell or ovum fuses with a male sperm cell or spermatozoon. The fertilized ovum, zygote, then passes into the uterus, embeds into the uterus wall and grows to maturity during pregnancy or gestation in about 40 weeks. When the ovum is not fertilized, it is expelled from the uterus along with the uterine lining as bleeding, known as menstruation. In female, the reproductive cycle consists of phases associated with changes in hormone levels involving the endocrine system. A cycle takes around 28 days. They take place continuously between puberty and the menopause, except during pregnancy. Next, introduction to aging. What is aging? After birth, many changes occur as the body grows and develops to maturity. The peak of mature physiologically function is often relatively short-lived. as age-related changes begin to impair performances. For example, kidney function begins to decline from about 30 years of age. At both extremes of the lifespan, many aspects of body function body function are less efficient. For example, temperature regulation is less effective in infants and older adults. Maturity of most body organs occurs during puberty and maximal efficiency during early adulthood. Most, most organs are able to repair and replace their tissues, with the notable exemptions of the brain and myocardium, the heart muscles. At maturity, many organs have considered considerably functional reserve or spare capacity, which usually decline gradually thereafter. The functional reserve means that considerable loss of function must occur before physiological changes are evident. Alteration in during function during older life need careful assessment as aging is generally associated with decreasing efficiency of body organs and are increasing frailty. Although predisposing factor for some conditions, the aging process is not accompanied by any specific illness or diseases. The process of aging is poorly understood, although it affects people in different ways. There is no single cause known, although many theories have been proposed, and there is enormous individual variation in the rate of aging. The lifespan of individual is influenced by many factors, some of which are hereditary. Several common age associated changes that occur in particular organs and systems are well recognized and include graying hair and wrinkling of the skin. Further, further we'll discuss about these details. The specific defense mechanism in the human body is the immune system, which protects the body from infection and disease. It's also known as adaptive immunity as acquired immunity. How it works. Identify pathogens. Immune system recognizes pathogens and their antigens, activate lymphocytes. White blood cells called lymphocytes are activated by the antigens. Create memory cells. Lymphocytes create memory cells that record the pathogens, respond to pathogens. When the same pathogens enters the body again, the memory cells quickly respond to eliminate it. Types of specific defense. Cell-mediated immunity. The T cells attack pathogens directly. Antibody-mediated immunity. B cells produce antibodies that bind to antigens, neutralizing them. Examples of the specific defense. Helper T cells recognize antigens and help other immune cells fight. Cytotoxic T cells recognizes and kill infected cells. B cells produce antibodies that bind to antigens. Next, transmission of inherited characteristics. In human anatomy, inherited characteristics are transmitted through genes which are located on chromosomes within the nucleus of a cell and are passed from parent of offspring during fertilization when a sperm cell combines with an egg cell, resulting in a new individual with a unique combination of traits from both parents. This process is called heredity. Key points about the transmission of inherited characteristics. Genes. These are the basic units of heredity carrying the genetic information for specific traits like eye color, hair color, or height. Chromosomes. Genes are organized on the thread-like structures called chromosomes, with humans typically having 23 pairs of chromosomes, one set from each parent. Alleles. Different version of gene for a particular trait are called alleles, where one allele is inherited from each parent. Dominant and recessive traits. Some alleles are dominant, meaning their trait is expressed even if the other allele is present, while recessive traits only appear when both alleles are recessive. Process of inheritance. Gamete formation. During the process of meiosis, sperm and egg cells, gametes, are produced, each carrying only one set of chromosomes, that is 23 chromosomes. Fertilization. When a sperm cell fuses with an egg cell, the resulting zygote has a full set of chromosomes, that is 46 numbers, with a combination of genes from both parents. Development. The zygote divides and differentiates into various cell types, with each cell carrying the same genetic information, leading to the development of a new individuals with inherited traits. Examples of the inherited traits: physical traits, eye color, hair color, skin tone, height. Medical conditions, certain genetic diseases like cystic fibrosis or sickle cell anemia. What is reproduction? The human reproduction involves the production of sperm and eggs, fertilization, and the development of an embryo in the uterus. Male reproductive and anatomy. Testes. Located in the scrotum, these organs produce sperm and testosterone. Prostate produces fluid that's released into the urethra during ejaculation. Seminal vesicles produce fluid that contains fructose, which helps sperm move through the female reproductive tract. Bulbourethral glands produce alkaline mucus that neutralizes any remaining acid from urine. Female reproductive anatomy. Ovaries produce ova, legs, and female sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Uterus prepares for implantation during the menstrual cycle. If fertilization occurs, the embryo develops in the uterus. Fertilization. Sperm and eggs meet in the fallopian tube. If fertilization is successful, the resulting zygote travels through the fallopian tube and implants in the uterus. Gametogenesis, aging. The process of producing sperm and eggs through meiosis. During meiosis, carried the chromosomes separate in the mucus. Now we'll talk about aging. Aging is the process of going older and experiencing a gradual decline in physical and mental abilities. It's a biological process that affects humans, many animals, and some fungi. What causes aging? Cellular damage. Over time, cells accumulate damage from internal and external factors. This damage can affect the DNA, mitochondria, and proteins in cells. Loss of stem cells. As people age, most cells in their bodies lose their ability to divide. Other factors, aging can also be associated with life transitions like retirement, relocation, and the death of loved ones. What are the effects of aging? Increased risk of disease. Aging can lead to an increased risk of diseases such as cancer and heart diseases. Changes in physical and mental abilities. Aging can cause a gradual decline in physical and mental abilities. Changes in perceptions. Aging can repair a person's perceptions of nutrients. How can people age healthily? Is it possible the people age healthily? Schedule regular checkups with doctor. Follow a doctor's advice of corrective devices like glasses, hearing aids, and contact lenses. Wear sunglasses or a wide brimmed hat when outdoors. Use earplugs when around loud noises. What causes illness? There are some causes to illness. Illness can be caused by a number of things, including infectious agents, genetic disorders, and inflammation. What is infectious agents? Viruses. These microscopic organisms cause many diseases, including common cold and AIDS. Bacteria. These one-celled organisms cause illness like strep throat, urinary tract infections, and tuberculosis. Fungi. These organisms cause many skin diseases like ringworm and athlete's foot, as well as lung and nervous system infections. Parasites. These are organisms cause diseases like malaria, which is transmitted by mosquito bites. Infectious disease can spread through direct contact with an infected person's animal and contaminated objects, contaminated food or water, droplets from coughs, sneeze, or talking. Genetic disorders. What are the genetic disorders? Genetic disorders can be inherited in different ways, including dominant, recessive, autosomal, or X-linked. Some genetic disorders are lethal, but the delayed onset of symptoms can allow the gene to be passed on to offspring. Inflammation. Inflammation is a normal part of the body's response to injury or infection. However, inflammation that occurs without the injury or infection can cause chronic diseases. So far, we discussed about human body constituent and about reproduction, genetics, and as well as diseases. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.